Coming to you direct from Silencer Shop Studios, home of the Glass Case of Emotion.
SilencerShop.com, the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Stand by for education, enlightenment, enjoyment, and entertainment.
He's not here to talk about your feelings. He's not here to say what you want to hear. He's here to say what needs to be said.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, please welcome your host, the pimp hand of America, Professor Paul Markle.
Heidi-ho, neighbors. What's up? Aw, how you doing out there today, planet Earth? You doing all right, planet Earth? I'm not really doing all right, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I feel like, Jared?
What?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. And thank you to our grad program member who made the crazy pills meme for me. But it's almost like, so let me see if I can break this down. So someone comes to you and says, my car's not running. I was driving down the street and it just stopped. And your friend says that to you, and you say, oh, well, did you check the gas gauge? He says, oh, no, I never thought to do that. And so you tell him, well, put some gasoline in the car, and it'll go farther. Oh, okay. Then a week later, they say, I don't know what's wrong with my car. It won't start. I was just driving, and it stopped. You say, well, did you put gas in it? Oh, do I need to put gas in it? Oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. That's kind of what I feel like now. Every time we have an attack in the United States, we have innocent people in gun-free zones getting slaughtered. And the media wrings their hands, and pundits go out and they go find all these experts. You know, the experts will say, you should run and hide, and after all other means have failed, then and only then should you try fighting back. And, you know, people will look to us and they'll say, well, what do you guys think? And I say, what do you mean, what do I think? I answered your question years ago. I told you to put gas in your car years ago. And yet, you keep acting surprised. You're driving down the road and your car stops. And you're like, I can't figure out. Why does my car keep stopping? I had the engine tuned up, and it has doors and windows and wheels, and there's air in the tires and all that. I don't know why my car keeps stopping. I said, well, put some gas in that thing. Oh. Is this my life, Jared? Is this my life?
Yes.
That, like, every 2 weeks I have to tell you to put gas in your car? It's like, hey, Paul, what's 2 plus 2? It's 4. Okay, thanks. And then next day, hey, what's 2 plus 2? It's 4. Oh, okay, thanks. I'm really getting kind of like crazy, sick to death. No one cares? Seriously. Does no one really care? They don't care enough. Well, you know what it is, Jared, and it saddens me. Well, we're going to ask you a question, but we're asking already knowing what answer we want. And the answer you gave us, that's not the answer we wanted.
Yeah, that's not what we wanted to hear.
That's not the, well, we didn't want to hear that answer. Because that answer that you gave us, that answer requires that we put forth effort.
Effort's not all.
And what do we know?
Prevalent here in United States right now. So I don't know. Maybe you're just expecting too much of people.
You mean I will actually have to take responsibility for my own life and put forth effort? Oh, I don't want that. Wouldn't it be easier if we just passed a new law? Yeah, that's what we need, is we just pass a new law. That way, if we pass a new law, and quite frankly, Jared, that's really what it boils down to. All the liberal idiots and leftists and so forth. What people are really saying when they support a new gun ban or restrictions or legislation or whatever, I mean, except for the ruling class. The ruling class is doing it for a very specific reason, because they need control over the peasantry. But when the average your friends and neighbors and soft-minded relatives, when they say that, they support it because they believe, whether they say it out loud or not, that that's the easy solution. If we just do that, if I just go ahead and mouth support for a new gun ban or a new law, that's because there's too much access to weapons of war in America. Blah, 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 blah. If I support that, then I won't actually have to do anything. I won't have to put forth any effort to protect myself. I won't have to take any responsibility for myself. And it's not just gun control, it's anything. I won't have to do it myself. All I need to do is throw my support behind the ruling class and the members of the state. And if I do that, then I can just go back to playing Candy Crush and farting around with my new iPhone and being distracted by shiny things. Because that's really what I want, is I want to just be distracted by shiny things. But quite frankly, it tires me. It really does. It tires me. These things happen, and everybody acts like it's new. The liberal lunatics and the idiots in California, they have two jihadists take guns, slaughter their coworkers in direct and total violation of California's prohibition against murder and felonious assault, but that didn't stop them. They weren't aware. Apparently, the Muslim death cult missionaries, the death cult missionaries, they weren't aware that in the United States of America, it's unlawful to commit mass murder. They just didn't get that in translation, apparently. So we need to punish the guns and the gun owners for the actions of the death cult missionaries. And so we have a death cult missionary that goes out and commits atrocities in Orlando, Florida, and the solution is to punish you and to punish me and to punish people that weren't at all involved. It's the NRA's fault, because the NRA they keep fighting against government intrusion and restrictions, and if they would just be more reasonable, then what? Then people like this wouldn't get weapons? Really? Is that true? Do you really believe that? Hey, Jared, do I need to remind the audience, apparently I do, that 3,000 Americans are dead because a bunch of jihadists with box cutters killed them? Jared, how many guns were involved in the 9/11 hijackings?
I'm going to go with 0.
Oh, 0. So all the gun control in the world, if we waved a magic wand over planet Earth and all the guns in the world immediately, poof, disappeared. Not one gun left on planet Earth. They're just all gone. Guess what? There would still be 3,000 dead Americans, because evil doesn't need guns. Evil will always find a way. But the problem is, evil's hard. It's hard to deal with evil. That requires effort. That requires that we actually accept that evil exists in the world. And in the hippie, liberal, peace, love, dope, modern progressivism, there is no evil. There's not really any good either. It's just everybody has their own opinion. And sure, some people's opinion is that they say should kill the infidel. There's that. But it's just, people just have opinions. No, there are evil humans in the world. And you can either fight the evil humans and defeat them, or you can just surrender like we're doing today. And we've got some examples of lies, distortion, and propaganda. Yeah. I'm going to give these to you because I just want to give you guys ammunition, a little bit of ammunition to work with when you go throughout your day and you deal with the soft-minded weaklings, the soy-fed manginas, all the fluoride drinkers that you have to encounter each and every day. I'll go ahead and give you something here. But before we do that, let's go ahead and thank our friends at Duracoat, because life is too short to have an ugly gun. You can get Duracoat products at Brownells. Go to brownells.com. And, of course, if you have the Student of the Gun mobile app, which, why wouldn't you? It's free. It's free thanks to our friends at Century Arms. If you got the mobile app, you can go directly to it, and you can tap on a little button that says Gun Tat. And that'll take you directly to the Duracoat website, to the Lauer Weaponry, and you can purchase a gun tat for your very own self. And you know what, Jared? I've been remiss. I've been very remiss in my duties.
Why?
Because I have not Duracoated a gun. I have Duracoat cans sitting on the shelf waiting for me to not be ridiculously busy. Maybe next week I will do a Duracoat project.
There you go.
There you go. All right. Frog Lube, it's green, it's minty fresh, it just works. You can get Frog Lube products at brownells.com or froglube.com or your favorite gun retailer or whatever. Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms maker in the U.S. of A. And remember, if you've been thinking about buying a new AK from Century Arms, what I want you to do is wait. Just keep thinking about it. Just keep waiting. And eventually, if you get around to it, then you can buy one. SWAT Fuel has a brand new store. They have a brand new online store. But the website is really confusing. It's swatfuelstore.com. If you can wade through that and type in the word swatfuelstore.com, you can use the promo code SOTG2015, and you're going to save yourself some money, and that's always a good thing. And I usually let you say it because you're so well practiced at it, but I could say it, I guess. The 41F, Jared? Are we still in that? When do we cut that off? What's the date that we cut that off?
July 7th.
July 7th. It's not July 7th yet, is it?
It might be July 6th.
6th? All right, well, what's 41F?
It's something that's coming up for the silencer industry. If you want to purchase a silencer, then you need to get your application into silencershop.com before July 6th.
If you want to get in under the deadline.
Yeah, that's what I just said. So if you want more information about that, go to silencershop.com, and they have all the information for you there.
.com. All right, NRA.
I like how he said that he was going to say it, and then he's like, "Hey, Jared, you do it."
I don't know if I was going to do that. That
was pretty funny.
The NRA executive director, Chris Cox, was on ABC News. Why? Because apparently he's a glutton for pain. I could not do that. I would not do that on a boat with a goat or on a train in the rain. I would not. I could not. When in a box with a fox, I could not be on ABC News.
I definitely could not do it.
I could definitely
smile on my
not
face.
make myself do that because I have a really, really low tolerance for stupid people, and I have a really, really low tolerance for bull crap, and yeah. So this talking head piece of human crap coaxed Chris Cox to come on his show, and he interviewed him. He wanted to ask him something, and Cox has say what you will about the NRA and whether you like the NRA or whether you don't like the NRA or whether you're undecided or in the middle. But here's the deal: the patience displayed by Chris Cox when talking to this soy-fed mangina, who obviously has an agenda, is quite frankly amazing. Jared, will you let us listen in on a little bit of that?
Do you want me to play the entire
I don't
video?
think we need the entire 6 minutes, but I think the first minute or two, I'll set it up here. So you have a bespectacled, soy-fed mangina, a member of the big media, who is graced to be in the presence of NRA's executive director, Chris Cox, and he's asking him questions about what he thinks we should do. And I will leave that, and Jared will go ahead and let you listen.
Chris Cox is the executive director of the National Rifle Association's Institute for Legislative Action. He is the NRA's top lobbyist and top political strategist. I want to ask you, Chris, about something we heard Donald Trump say at the top of the show, that if people in that nightclub had been as heavily armed as the shooter, it would have been a better situation. Is that really what you want? Is people late at night drinking at a nightclub 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, armed to the teeth. Is that the recipe for?
Well, Jonathan, here's what we know. What happened in Orlando was heartbreaking. Our prayers go out to those families, everybody impacted. We have a serious problem in this country, a catastrophic situation. It has nothing to do with firearms. It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment or even gun control, and it has everything to do with radical Islamic terrorists. Okay, what Donald Trump has said is that the policies of that nightclub, the gun-free zone, did not prevent that terrorist from going in and mowing down innocent people. And we need to have an honest discussion about what works.
Do you want people late at night at a nightclub drinking?
Of course not. Of course not. And you can't be in a nightclub drinking anywhere in this country. What Donald Trump has said is what the American people know is common sense, that if somebody had been there to stop this faster, fewer people would have died. That's not controversial. That's common sense.
Well, you don't like the idea of people going into nightclubs armed to the teeth.
Of course, no one thinks that people should go into a nightclub drinking and carrying firearms. That defies common sense. It also defies the law. It's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is a failure of this government to keep us safe. And the American people are scared, and they have reason to be scared. And you can do both things. You can stop bad things from happening while protecting the rights of law-abiding people to defend themselves.
Now, Donald Trump says he wants to meet with you. Has he reached out yet? Is there a meeting scheduled?
Sure, we have conversations with Mr. Trump and his operation all the time. What Donald Trump has said is something that the National Rifle Association agrees with. The NRA's position is that terrorists should not be able to buy firearms legally or illegally, period.
But what he has said very specifically, because I was very specific with him, and it was not the first time he said it, he has said that it is his position that if you are on the terrorist watch list, you should not be able to buy a firearm. Are you prepared to agree with that?
What our position is that the FBI should investigate every single person who's on a terrorist watch list if they try to buy a gun. That's what they're doing now. If there's a reason to believe and probable cause that they're engaged in terrorist activity, they ought to not only be prevented from getting a firearm, they ought to be arrested. At the same time, the government makes mistakes. The government puts people on the list like Nelson Mandela, Ted Kennedy, an 8-year-old Boy Scout, or Cub Scout rather. Do you think that people should be afforded due process who are on the list by mistake? That's the National Rifle Association position, and they're not mutually exclusive. You can protect the rights of law-abiding people in this country while preventing terrorists from doing bad things. They're not mutually exclusive.
But the bill you guys are supporting, all it would do is it would say that the government has 72 hours to prove the case. You'd basically have to have a trial in 72 hours. They can't prove the case in...
Okay, so what do we get here? This guy, he's trying to get Chris Cox to say that you should be armed in bars. Did you catch that, folks? He's like, oh, is that what you're saying? I don't love it. I hate it. These phrases.
It's like arguing with a 2-year-old.
On the street. We've got on the street. We've got
armed to the teeth.
Armed to the teeth. I was going to say one of them besides armed to the teeth. Wild West. On the street. Wild West. Armed to the teeth. What? That what you want? That's what you want? You want people in nightclubs armed to the teeth? Is that what you want, Chris? No, moron. We never said that. Donald Trump never said that. But it doesn't matter. And so Cox answers his question. Then he comes back. Well, what you're saying, but if you say that, then you think people should be armed in nightclubs, armed to the teeth? 3 times he was looking for an answer. He was trying to get the answer that he wanted. So 3 times he goes back and he asks the same question. Do you not think that this soy-fed mangina has axe to grind, has an agenda? You think they have an agenda? Maybe. Now we're going to go from there. That's just one example. And if you tortured yourself by listening to the big media phone call with Trump, I listened to the first 30 seconds or so of it, and they did the same thing to him. They asked him a question, he answered it. Then they asked him the same question again, only in a different way, and he answered it the same way. And then they asked it to him again. They're going to keep asking you the question until they get the answer that they want. Oh, that's not the answer I wanted. Let me ask you that question in a different way. Is that journalism or is that propaganda? I don't know.
And if you guys want to watch that whole video, and it's actually pretty good. It's funny to watch Chris Cox do that with a smile, because I would not have been able to do that.
Patience of a saint.
Go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on episode 405, and if it's not at the top there, just search for it in the search bar, SOTG 405, and that video will be the #1 video in the related videos section.
Attention, new listeners. We produced a free training video series called 7 Training Tips That Could Save Your Life. We want you to have access to this life-saving information. Get instant access now at studentofthegun.com. Do you watch Student of the Gun TV, read the blog, and follow us on Facebook? If you answered no to any of those questions, you are wrong, but you can easily fix yourself. Go to studentofthegun.com to find everything SOTG.
Folks, if you don't think there's an agenda, you're like, I'm not a crazy person like you, Paul. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a reasonable person. Okay. So the story's breaking today, or not today, I'm sorry. The story broke a couple of days ago about how, first of all, little Johnny Jihad, the death cult missionary, while he was inside of he was doing Allah's work in the nightclub there. While he was doing Allah's work, he got on the phone and he called and he issued his little statement of jihad, right? And they recorded it. I'm like, what? Yeah, they recorded it. He even spoke in Dirt Allah in the little Johnny Jihad language there. And we're finding out that the Justice Department, they got a hold of the transcript of the 911 calls, and they censored them. What? They censored them? Why would they need to? Jared, riddle me this, Batman. Why would they need to? Did he say the F word in it? Did he say the P word or the a-hole word? Did he use foul language?
He said the A word.
Yeah, he said a different A word. The FBI has released a partial transcript of the exchange between Islamic terrorist Omar Mateen and local law enforcement authorities during his attack at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. Not only did the Department of Justice, under the direction from the White House, no doubt, censor his pledges to the Islamic State, but they changed the word Allah to God.
Oh, but they're just translating.
But I thought it was the religion of peace. This is the religion of peace. Why would you need to hide the actions of the religion of peace? Because, I mean, they're so darn peaceful. Never mind what they do. Let's go ahead, and I've got a partial transcript. The FBI released the partial transcript here. And it says, the following is based on Orlando Police Department's OPD radio communication. 2 a.m. OPD transmitted multiple shots fired at Pulse nightclub. 2:04 additional OPD officers arrive on scene. 2:08 officers and various law enforcement agencies made their way to the entrance and engaged the shooter. 2:18 OPD unsuccessfully. OPD initiated a fall call out. 2:35 a.m. shooter contacted. Okay. 33 minutes into this. 33 minutes in. The shooter contacted 911. He called them. The call lasted approximately 50 seconds, the details of which are set below. OPD is initial as OOD, and OM is Johnny Jihad. Emergency 911, this is being recorded. In the name of God the merciful, the beneficial, was spoken in Arabic. They changed the word Allah to God. And the operator said, "What? Speak English, this is America." And in Arabic he said, "Praise be to," quote, "God." Of course he didn't say God, he said Allah, but they changed it in the transcript. "And prayers as well as peace upon the prophet of God," you mean Allah. "I let you know, I'm in Orlando. I did the shootings. What's your name?" My name is, I pledge of allegiance to, omitted. Who did he pledge allegiance to? Well, we don't know, because the FBI omitted that part. Jared, why would it be necessary for the FBI to delete the exact verbiage from the transcript?
Well, according to Lynch, she says, what we're not going to do is further proclaim this man's pledges of allegiance to terrorist groups and further his propaganda.
What we're going to do is we're going to hide the fact that this was not a workplace shooting, that this is not the fault of guns. This is a fault of the Comrade Barry administration for promoting, funneling, and looking the other way while little Johnny Jihad and death cult missionaries make their way all over the United States of America. ISIS is a creation of the failed crap-hole policies of Comrade Barry and all of his friends. Okay, what's your name? I pledge allegiance to blank. May God protect him. Meaning, they changed. When you see the word God, remember that he actually said Allah. Protect him in Arabic on behalf of, omitted again. All right. Where are you at? In Orlando. Where in Orlando? End of call. Shortly thereafter, the shooter engaged in 3 conversations with OPD's crisis negotiation team. Now, folks, Jared, how many more times do I need to say this? Seriously.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
If you are ever involved in a crime in progress. Now, before we had the really cool tactical term active shooter, way back when in the olden days when we were just cops with guns and cars, we called them in progress calls, meaning a bank robbery in progress, a fight in progress, a whatever. We just called them in progress calls. So I'm going to go ahead and use some old school vernacular for you kids. If you ever find yourself, listen to me, Mr. and Mrs. America, or anybody else who wants to listen to. If you find yourself in the middle of an in-progress crime, you're like, well, of course it's an in-progress crime, Paul. Well, stay with me. The only people that are going to be able to save you, the only people that are going to make a difference, the only people that will have the opportunity to do anything positive are the people that were there when the in-progress call began. This guy goes into the nightclub around 2 a.m., maybe he got there a little early, I don't know, I don't care. Starts whacking and stacking. Pop, pop, pop. 48 minutes later, the first crisis negotiation call is made. There's another one at 3:03 a.m. and another one at 3:24. So let me break it down for you, brothers and sisters. It wasn't until 4:21 a.m. that OPD pulled an air conditioning unit out of the dressing room window for victims to evacuate. 4:29, as victims were being rescued, they told OPD that he was going to put 4 vests with bombs on victims. 5:02, SWAT and hazmat begin to breach the wall. All right, and 5:15 a.m., they engaged the shooter and reported that he was down. Now, I don't know about you. I know some of you went to public school. But if we go all the way back to the very beginning, now obviously the OPD got a call at 2:02, so that the shooting didn't actually start at 2:02. That was when they got the phone call. All right? But let's just go with 2:02. So 5:15 a.m. minus 2:02 a.m., for those of you that went to public school, that is 3 hours and 13 minutes. 3 hours and 13 minutes Johnny Jihad had to do what he would. And nobody could stop him because guns are bad, right? And we don't want you to focus on the fact that he pledged his life to ISIS. No. We don't want you to focus on the fact that he praised the name of Allah and Allah's great prophet. You can't know that. Why? Because if you think about that, you might, for just 1 minute, think, maybe there's someone in the United States government responsible for allowing this stuff to happen. Maybe the fact that little Johnny Jihad was on the FBI's list, and they knew who he was. Do you think maybe that they're treading lightly against little death cultists because they don't want to offend the current administration? You think maybe that is? Nah, you're paranoid, Paul. Well, we've got one more religion of peace story to share for you.
You're a paranoid, Paul.
Yeah, I'm a paranoid. You're just paranoid. You're a conspiracy theorist. None of this actually happened. None of it happened. It was a white male Christian from Utah that did it. Yeah, that's it. Play my song, brother. I love my song.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Das geht an die Oma des letzten Propheten Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ich bin Allah so dankbar, ein Muslim sein zu dürfen. Das geht an die Oma. Wir sind die Oma. Check das aus. Bismillah.
So while you're being distracted by gun control talk and how the media has changed the narrative from Johnny Jihad, death cult missionary, to guns are bad, while you're being distracted by that, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know that a 5-year-old girl in Twin Falls, Idaho, was sexually assaulted by not one, not two, but 3 Middle Eastern refugees that were force settled into her apartment complex by your government? Do you know that? Have you heard about that? Is that front page news? Hey, Jared, riddle me this. Let's just say hypothetically that we found out that 3 boys from rural Alabama or Mississippi or Louisiana or whatever, from the South, 3 white Southern boys held a knife to the neck of a little 5-year-old black girl, and then they sexually assaulted her and urinated on her. Do you think that might be headline news nationwide?
Yeah.
Let's be honest with each other.
They've already proven that that's how it would be.
But here we have a story, and it's been reported in many different places online, but I'm going to bet you that if you don't live in Idaho, you probably don't know about this. Well, what happened exactly, Paul? Well, Twin Falls, Idaho, and the source is PamelaGeller.com, but there's lots of other sources online. KMVT has confirmed that a reported sexual assault that possibly occurred near the Fawnbrook Apartments is being investigated by Twin Falls police. The incident allegedly occurred on June 2nd. And the Twin Falls prosecutor Grant Loebs has confirmed the investigation to Idaho's First News. Says that there will be no charges filed until the police investigation is complete. Well, okay, what's the details there, hippies? Well, apparently, allegedly, this is all alleged now, the little girl being born prematurely was less developed for her age. Little girl was at the Fawnbrook Apartments where her parents and grandmother reside. She was playing between the 2 apartment units when 3 boys of, Middle Eastern descent, aged 8, 10, and 13, pulled a knife on her, held it to her throat, forced her into a laundry unit, stripped her naked, raped, and urinated on her. The 13-year-old coached the younger boys as he videoed. Due to age restraints, the boys could not ejaculate. Oh, thank you. But they did take turns urinating on her. Now, question. I'm assuming that probably horrified you. And, it says, the boys' parents and families are refugees who were settled by the government into the Twin Falls, or what is the name of this apartment? The Fawnbrook apartment complexes. It says that the landlords cannot evict the families Wow. I don't even, this, wow. Jared, I don't even know what to say. I'm not even going to go on with this because it's too upsetting. But riddle me this, Batman. This is all I want to know, because when the name of this episode is Big Media Lies, Distortion, and Propaganda, and I want you to ask yourself, are you hearing about this story for the first time from my voice? And the link's in the show notes. Go to the show notes. Or just type in Twin Falls, Idaho, 5-year-old girl raped, Muslim migrants. Oh, they're migrants. Yeah, they said, oh, they're not refugees, they're migrants who were relocated by the government into these apartment complexes. What have we been told, Jared, about they're just women and children? What are you afraid of? Why are you so racist and you don't want to allow women and children into the country? What harm could they possibly do? I don't know. What harm could they possibly do? I don't know. You tell me. All right, it is Thursday, and because it's Thursday, we have our Student of the Gun Homeroom brought to you by Crossbreed Holsters.
What you gonna do when it all comes back to the place that you never wanted it to come back to? And where you gonna roll when the bottom drops out and you got no place to go? Who you gonna trust when trust is a must? You better roll with the rest of us. So pack your bags and all the faith you can, cause it's about ready to hit the fan. Come to ready. 2012, y'all about the re-election of an antichrist. Come to ready. You don't believe me, just look deep into the soul of the lion.
All right. So, it's funny he said pack your bags, because today what we're going to talk about is Jared's working with the Man Pack. It's called the Man Pack, right, Jared?
Oh, yeah.
Jared is working with the new Man Pack. He is in the midst of a T&E. That's a test and evaluation for you folks out there that went to public school. And the one thing I noticed about the Man Pack, Jared, and the gun compartment, there is a compartment for, you can carry all kinds of stuff. But there's a compartment in there that you're specifically supposed to keep a gun in. But you know what it's missing?
What?
Soft-sided Velcro.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. That I would really like to have that inside there, because then I could use the Crossbreed holster, the Ojai.
You could
stick it in there.
You could put the Ojai in there. The Ojai is a formed gun pocket. It's a Kydex formed pocket for your specific gun. It's not one of these one-size-fits-nothing ones. And if you've got a pack, a bag, a pouch, a satchel, a briefcase, all these myriad of different pack bag ways to carry guns, most of them have soft-sided Velcro stitched inside. And a lot of them have come up with these, like, kind of really super cheap straps and universal holsters that, one size fits nothing things. But the cool thing about the Ojai is that it's specifically designed just to fit your gun. So I wanted to just touch on that real briefly. Jared is currently, he's testing and evaluating it. He's going to take it on the road, and he's going to do a trip with the Man Pack, and he's going to come back and tell us what his experience was.
Yeah, so
whether
far,
he feels more manly or not.
Yeah, I've used it once so far. I just got it the other day, and I wore it, I believe, yesterday for the first time. And I often have the problem, and that most of you probably have, is that I don't have enough pockets to fit all of my stuff in. Well, I can fit everything that I normally carry into that Man Pack, including my laptop and a notebook and a pen and all my stuff. And then I also can stick a backup gun in my pocket. I can also stick another tourniquet in my pocket. I have all my pockets and then the stuff that's in the bag. So it has really solved all of my problems that I've had up to this point as being an armed citizen.
So there you go. That's your hardware discussion for today. We like to talk about hardware on the Student of the Gun Homeroom. It's not exclusive. We don't have to do it. I mean, this is my show. I can talk about whatever I want. But today we're going to talk about the Man Pack. All right, well, it is Thursday. It's the end of the show. And, well, if you're a grad program member, you'll be back with us tomorrow. Fear not, we have some serious discussion. We're going to talk about sniping inside the wire tomorrow, or shotgunning, or fratricide, I guess you could say. That's all going to be discussed tomorrow on the Grad Program Hour. For those of you that haven't made that decision yet, that's okay. We'll be back and we'll talk to you next Monday. And I believe next Monday is the 4th of July, is it not?
Yes.
Get the Farfignugan right out of here. Is it really? No.
No. Yeah, it is.
Yes, no, maybe? No. We got another week.
We got another week.
We got a whole another week.
Holy crap. Yeah.
All right, I knew it was coming up quick, but no, it's not that quick. Yeah. All right, kids. Remember, you're a beginner once. You should indeed be a student for life, and you should indeed share this show with at least one other person.